Hello, this is a quick tutorial on how to find the tempo of a song that you don't know what the tempo is. This will enable you to use the grid mode and help you a lot in terms of syncing things up with your chosen track that you want to have as the base of your mashup. So a few setup things. First, you want to make sure that your conductor track is enabled. So that's this guy over here with the baton and his hands in the air. If that is not blue, you want to click it to make sure that it's blue. If you're not seeing this whole bar here with that control in it, you go to this pull down and make sure MIDI controls is enabled. So that's your conductor track. You can see here that my conductor track is set to 120 beats per minute. That's the Pro Tools default. Second thing you want to do, make sure your tempo lane is open here in your timeline. So mine is. If it's not, this pull down, check, make sure that tempo is checked. And I would make my main timeline bars and beats. So here, bars and beats. And then also set your grid and your nudge to bars and beats as well. So bars and beats, yes, and nudge value, bars and beats. You can play around with the increments of those a little bit later after we get this all set up. So I've got a track here that I want to determine the tempo of, or the beats per minute. So you want to select a 4-bar range in your track that you're looking to assess tempo-wise. You want to select 4 bars, and you want to go to a place in the song that has a regular, steady rhythm. So I've already selected out my 4 bars here. And remember, you can always use the loop playback function to test to make sure it's a nice clean 4-bar loop. So I'm just going to play this real quick and see that it loops cleanly. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. Yes, so it's great. So I'm going to make a copy of that and put it down here in a new track that I've created just below my original track, and I'm just going to hold Option and grab it and drag it down here. So now I'm going to use Identify Beat tool to tell me what the tempo is of this. So up here in the Event menu, Identify Beat, and that's going to open up this guy here. Now this is a 4-bar selection, and I've moved it to the beginning of the session, so I want to analyze 4 bars. So right here my start time is 1, bar 1, beat 1, and my end time I want to be bar 5, beat 1. So there you go. So you can always tell you want 4 bars, 1 to 5, just subtract. So 5 minus 1 is 4. I know that's 4 bars, and then I click OK, and it analyzed it. So here you see in my tempo, here it says it's 122.996. I'd say that's darn close to 123 beats per minute. So I'm going to round that off, and I'm going to change it. So I'm going to click this little plus sign here, Add Tempo Change, and I want it to change it from bar 1, beginning of the session, and I'm just going to change that to 123. Click OK, and now you see my tempo of my session is set to 123. You can see it over here too, 123. So you can always double check it by using a click track. So this is my click track here, and you get a click track into your session by just going into the track menu, choosing Create Click Track, and it'll add it in there. I'm going to take that out of mute, and let's listen to these two together and see if the click in my 4-bar selection match up. Yeah, sounds good. And then I can go back up here to my main selection, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit and just see, am I lining up good with my bar and beats? Not so much. And the reason that is likely, oops, I'm not in grid mode, is likely that because see how the song doesn't exactly kind of start at the beginning. It is a sort of ambiguous opening that doesn't have perfect time. So let's listen to my original and see what's happening up here. Go back to the beginning, mute the metronome for a second. So this is sort of a little bit arrhythmic, so it's not really sunk up too well with the beat. So what I would do actually here in this case is I would go to the point where the beat really comes in clearly, and I would line that up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this first bit of material for right now. We can make it come back. I'm just going to delete that, and then I know this is like the big downbeat of the beat. So I'm just going to grab that and I'm going to go into grid mode so that every move I make is going to snap to that grid, that tempo grid we just created. And I'm just going to slide that over that snaps right to that bar 17 grid line. Now if I zoom in, you can see my big transients are all kind of lining up with the, oops, snap that in there too. I can heal that now that I already determined that if I just swipe over that. Go back to the slip mode, Command H. Oh, no, I guess it won't let me. Never mind. So now I can see anywhere in the song, see how my big transients are lined right up on the beat, on the grid line. So this song is perfectly in sync now with the grid. And if I want that original material from the beginning, again, I can just drag this section back out with my trimmer to the beginning, and now I have the song back from the beginning, and that should work out just fine. Yeah, so perfect. So now what do? So now that I've got this song all sunk up, I can use my little chunk that I used to find the tempo to find other 4-bar sections of songs and match that tempo. So I've got my GoldenEye track down here that I want to use this little chunk from. Oops. All right, this is a remix of the James Bond GoldenEye. 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 bars of this little intro. So I'm going to actually create myself another new track under this one, stereo audio track. And I'm going to drag a copy of this GoldenEye section that I want up in there. So holding Option, grabbing that and moving it up here. And you can see it's considerably slower because look how much longer. This is 4 bars and this is 4 bars, and you can see how much longer the GoldenEye one is. So it's that much slower. So now this is the benefit of having your session in time with this track, because I can go into grid mode and use my time compression expansion trimmer tool and trim this GoldenEye clip up to the same length, 5 bars, as my reference track, and it'll change the tempo exactly. And when I'm in grid mode, it's gonna snap to the grid. So boom, 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 boom. Now my 4-bar GoldenEye clip is the same length as the session, and those two things should match up now. Whether or not it'll sound good together, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter for this demonstration. So here it is now. Yeah, so there it is. And you can use any portion of this. If I just want the da-da, I could go grab that, you know. And again, see, in grid mode, it's gonna give me exactly what I want. So I can just take the da-da part and say I'm gonna copy that, and then anywhere in this track up here that I want to use it, if I want to put it right here at bar 17 where my beats come in, I can paste it there and have that. So let's see what that sounds like. you know, I don't know if that's special, but just to give you an idea. So now this whole session is in time with this Nibiru track, and I can take anything I want and drop it in there, and it'll be on the beat. And so again, don't worry about if you don't understand musical subdivisions and whatever. You know, these are just dividing that grid up into increments. Doesn't matter, you know, smaller or larger increments. Anywhere on the grid line you drop something, it'll be in time. You know, the downbeats are the thicker lines. Those are on the bar lines, so that's more likely going to be at the beginning of a phrase. But, you know, you can just experiment with taking bits of stuff and, you know, again, use this reference, the 4-bar reference that you used to find the tempo, to grab multiple chunks. But, you know, you can do longer sections. So say you wanted, you know, to find a 8-bar section of GoldenEye to match up. So then you would just throw it in here and sync it, count out 8 bars of the grid and time compress it to that length. So once you've set your grid to match your main song, you can really have a lot of freedom in dropping in things that will be in tempo. So I hope that's helpful. Have fun. Bye now.